Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever podcast between Chinte89 and myself, Thyworm. Chinte, you want to add anything to that?
No, I'm fairly fine here.
Okay.
So, I'm excited.
Yes, me too. We just spent like 45 minutes setting everything up, so we'll see if this actually works once I start editing. Yeah.
Experiment is always good.
It's a little experiment, and the idea was, well, maybe we just like do this every week or every 2 weeks, and we are just going towards, or we're just going through some of the news topics that we can think of. So first topic, the latest patch 0.6.1. What are your first thoughts, for example?
My first thought when the patch dropped is that this changed everything. I had fairly much critique to the big patch 2.
Yeah.
Being way too grindy for too little reward. Me and Taiwan had a lot of discussion about the shroud cages being one of the most letdown mechanic that we had in game at this point. But what this patch did was it actually fixed the shroud cages. When I play Pagan Online, I love to find the shroud cages because I know, this might be something interesting, something useful for me even.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they drop a lot of interesting stuff now, and I think the chance of getting a legendary blueprint is at least 50%.
Yeah, it's really, we haven't gotten an exact percentile chance because they don't want to tell us, but it feels like it's so high.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was playing and I found around 20 shroud cages and
Really?
I got 8, blueprints. So, both the frequency of how often you get a shroud cage and also how often you get a legendary. For me at least, it feels really nice. And a big improvement from the big patch 2.
Because I have found 2 in 10 hours of playtime. So
Okay.
I'm not totally sure what I'm doing wrong then. Because how long did you play to find 20 of them?
I played for 4 hours. I did the patrol mission called Antediluvian. And I did in hard difficulty because that's easy now to clear from room to room. And that's all I did.
Which level was it?
It was a level 47. So of course RNG had a place in it.
Yeah.
I mean, next time if I do exact same thing for 4 hours, I might only get 5.
Right.
But I mean, it's still an increase from when the original big patch 2 dropped, and
Yeah.
also the feeling you get that it might be something useful instead of when the big patch 2 dropped. It's probably just gonna be a blue, so I'm not gonna even open it.
No, true. So what I really liked is the changes they did to the shroud cages itself. That's definitely good. I am not too happy myself, and I also saw some other people in the chat with the drop rate just yet. I think you can bump it up a little bit. Also, Mirko alluded to this in the dev stream. They also mentioned that they might bump up the spawn rate a little bit, because at least for me, I found those very low still. But yeah.
Yeah, so the frequency of the shroud cages.
Yeah.
But I think they would be good if they just make a small adjustment, and they talked about it on the dev stream, that the difficulty affects the shroud cages. So if you do another master, you get more.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That would also incentivize people to actually play higher difficulty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of just doing hard because it's faster and gives the exact same thing, basically, you get an incentive to do something harder and push yourself for it.
Yeah, for sure. And there is really no reason to do any hard or master difficulty right now, at least not in those missions. Yeah. No, I agree. Any of the other changes, for example, the gauntlet? I think there's a lot of people who didn't really like the new gauntlet. Well, they didn't like the old gauntlet either, I suppose.
I have very personal bias against the gauntlet. The gauntlet is probably my least favorite mechanic in game right now, and especially endgame mechanic.
I agree.
I feel like the gauntlet is just an endless grind. And if you mess up one time, you lose all the thing because you have no way of actually, grabbing all the items because there's such a big chunk of them, so you can't distinguish anything. And
true.
also, it doesn't bring me joy in the same sense. I mean, farming shroud cages, for example, that brings me joy. I could do that for 6 hours straight and wouldn't have, become bored of it.
Yeah.
The gauntlet, even now in the bosses and stuff like that, even in the updated version, shorter times, I still find it quite tedious.
For sure. Yeah. I totally agree with you there. I think the gauntlet as a mechanic, I don't like it at all. There's people that are hard farming it. Someone was so kind, Lost Squirrel was so kind to basically have me tag along on his Gauntlet 5 master difficulty run. So we did that together. That is quite like challenging and sort of interesting as well. But it could have easily happened that we both received like one of those insane crits, and he would have just lost 120 trophies that he probably farmed for hours and hours without a single reward, which just seems like a bit bad, and I really cannot be bothered to even start the gauntlet. It
comes back to this risk reward thing that is kind of a big thing in all ARPGs. It's like, do I want to risk 150 bloody trophies for something that I might, with the current crit system, lose instantly and gain absolutely nothing for?
Yeah, totally. And you're much better off farming regular bosses or shroud cages.
I mean, I have only good things to say about that patch, so I don't really feel like it's a good patch. It's a step in the right direction, the direction at least I want and a lot of other players are seeking to find in Pagan Online. So I have nothing more to share on that topic actually today.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's also the latest video that I made about it. Like it's just a step in the right direction. Most of the changes feel good. The only thing I still really don't like is the gauntlet. That's fine.
Yeah.
But anything else, pretty good stuff. All right, next topic. The dev stream. I watched it this morning while I was just grinding a little bit. And
what was your first impression?
They had a lot of fun, which I really liked.
We did.
Like the last dev stream was a bit... how should I put it? Like there were definitely some people visibly uncomfortable over there.
Yeah, you can say that.
All right, and that was not the case anymore. I feel. I thought that like Mirko and Petra and Emil and Matea, they're all completely fine being on camera and like taking a piss with the community or calling out Petra when she dies and that.
Especially one developer.
Especially one developer. Who people are apparently about to cosplay. So I'm curious to see how that works out.
Yeah, same here. You gotta give me a report on that when Gamescom.
Yeah, I know. I might be able to cosplay him myself. I mean, we have similarities, I would say. So
I see.
I have still glasses that he wears. Like I have the same type of glasses. So who knows?
Who knows?
But it's hard because it's so random, right? The questions and everything is so random. But I did like the format that they're having, right? They have just some gameplay, but it's mostly about like interaction with the community, which I think is really good.
The only bad thing I have to say about this dev stream is that we were teased with the new heroes,
right?
Hector and Elden. But we only got to see gameplay of Hector. I wanted to see also some gameplay of Elden. I was like, okay, Hector comes out. Oh, he looks cool. He got a flamethrower. Nice. So what does Elden have? Was watching, furiously watching the dev stream. Oh, and this is Elden. And they showed Case just splat art of it.
Yeah.
And nothing more. It was like, it went from all of a sudden. But... as you said, we had a lot of fun during the dev stream. We got some questions answered, and we got a new nickname for Petra.
Yes, Deathra.
Yeah, so
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I have a special, kind of respect for Petra because she did some design, on Maruk. Quite a big Maruk fan, so yeah. But yeah, in general, I liked the latest dev stream. It's just that I wanted some more information. I didn't want all the information on Elden, but just some tease about the gameplay. That's like, is it gonna be a big sword wielding or dual wielding, or so we can get a general concept.
Emil said something that I can resonate with, and he said like, well, we also want players to figure things out for themselves and not really spoil too much. And I think there is a truth in that as well. So that you don't really want to see everything up front already, but just like small minor parts. And in the case of Elden, nothing at all, apart from some splash art. I think I actually agree with that. I think, yeah, sure. I don't need to see how everybody plays. We'll just figure it out ourselves.
So basically, I want the information right up front so I can start planning, and you want to be more teased, so you're feeling like an urge to play when you actually can play. Is that what you're saying?
Nah, he said, well, what is nice about playing games is that during the game you discover things when you're actually playing. And if people have already teased it, or not teased it, have already spoiled it, basically, then that's no fun. And I agree. I think, I would rather not see a new boss and just reach that point in time and then see it for the first time. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's a valid point. I get it. It's just that I'm too impatient. I want to get things now. That's just me, though.
All right. Anything else? New pets? Do you care about pets at all?
That's one of my greatest weakness.
Pets?
I do not care. That too. You should see my dog. Anyways, cosmetics. If it's my pets, or if it's transmogrification or whatever, I don't understand it. It's like skins and whatever. It's not my thing.
So you don't care?
I don't care.
Yeah. Okay. I also really don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's cool that you're developing and drawing up. Kind of hinted in dev stream that the pet's gonna have some background story.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that they're putting some effort into it, but it's not important for me. I'd rather have them like develop new passive for Maruk, or fixing some bugs with Amir or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
That's my primary focus and joy.
No, I agree with that. I think though that they're the let's say the pet design guys are different people than the let's fix bugs.
Yeah.
Let's
most
fix
likely.
bugs, guys. Yeah. All right. Now that's fair enough. Regarding endgame content, though, there were some questions asked, and I think some interesting answers as well. Right?
Yeah. There wasn't talk about the endgame. Mostly been talking about the big thing that everyone's talking about right now. That everyone's getting one-shotted because of the crit system. So there were a lot of questions about how the end game content, how we always get all of a sudden killed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the balancing of the end game content, one could say. I didn't pick up too much about people's thoughts and ideas about new end game content or changing of the end game content. It was more like, hey, we're having problems with the end game content. More like that.
Yeah.
It's like nobody can really do end game content 100% efficiency because sometimes we just get one-shotted. But they said that they are looking into it, and I actually got confirmation that from a fellow moderator that we are getting fixed on that. So
yes, yeah.
So,
and they said that in a dev stream too, by the way.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
so I see what you mean. And so I think there's two things. So we have, let's say, balancing and that kind of stuff on current systems. That will happen, basically, right? At some point in time. But there will also be new mechanics, I think. And some of the new things that they were talking about, for example, that I thought was pretty interesting, is, for example, that they have over 30 designs for new heroes.
That's right. And also, some of them, they had more, but they scrapped a few ideas as well.
Right.
So it's like the idea, well, for new heroes hasn't dried up. Far from it. It's like it's still fresh.
Yeah,
And
and
that,
yeah, and I feel where this could be going is more of like, and this is what Mirko said in the dev stream as well, and I kind of like that direction. He said something along the lines of, well, by adding just a bunch of new heroes, that is a way that we can add versatility to the game, and people
Yeah.
are just going to be able to enjoy playing those heroes, gearing up those heroes, coming up with like funky builds. And a month later or two, you release 2 more heroes. That's not what he
Yeah.
said, but that's what I'm thinking. That you can just have like League of Legends, just every month or two, you just get a new hero, and it gives a boost to the game because you can do the same content over and over again, but then with new heroes.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a relatively easy way. Because you don't have to change anything really, you just have to make another hero. I'm not saying that's easy, but more like you don't have to creating a completely new act or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. They also said, and this is something that I kind of, grabbed onto and really enjoyed, and also feel like, yeah, this is what I'm feeling right now. So with the increase of the hero pool, different heroes are good at different things. Not only that they play differently entirely, it's like, let's take Lucan and Maruk as an example. Now, Lucan is probably one of the most, well-known AoE heroes in the game. He clears an entire room with one lightning spell at the moment. And he's actually, well, could we call him the king of this, the arena clearing? Can we call him that?
Yeah, sure, he's good at it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, we have heroes like Maruk that he can do decent clearing in the rooms with him, but his big strength and where he really shines is in the boss killing.
Yes.
So we have different heroes being specialized in different ways, and I personally really like that. So you don't have so meta today and this patch is Lucan. Next patch gonna be Ishtok, and that's all it's gonna be. Ishtoks everywhere or Kingovich everywhere. I mean, so you have different heroes being good at different things, and I hope they really stick to that philosophy. Because,
I think they will, because Elden is also going to be like a single target boss killer, for example, and I think Hector is going to be more like AoE-ish and fire-based, of course. So that's interesting too, but yeah.
And rats, don't forget rats.
Rats, yeah, turrets. Another thing that they talked about, which I thought was interesting, was the crafting material improvements and balancing out the economy a little bit more. What are your thoughts on that and on crafting a little bit?
First of all, and this is true from the Big Patch 1, the crafting levels that they're gone, I think that I hope they keep it that way, because I didn't really like the crafting system in a whole. Both that it was unscaled in the old versions, and I don't know, felt like it minimized drops to a point where they were obsolete. I want crafting and drops to be kind of the same. The only issue I have with crafting right now is what we was just talking about, the unevenness of the material. It's like, I do one mission or 2 missions because that's the optimal for, shroud cages. Then I get tons of one material and have absolutely nothing else in another material.
Yeah.
And a mechanic to, balance these things out, of course not as optimal if you, specifically farming. Let's say you trade in 5 for 1 of the other material, whatever. So you aren't benefiting, but you can do it.
Yeah.
So, and I said this already, in the old version, the old early access, when we were stuck with like 9,000 legendary materials and absolutely nothing in the epic because everyone was crafting epics at the time. A way to balance out resources is not necessary, but it would be a real quality of life change here. That's what I feel.
Yeah. So that they were talking about this, right? about the crafting materials balancing. So something they said was, for example, artifacts, which are currently a huge pain to get. Maybe Ducat, the trader, the vendor, will start playing a role in this. There you can trade, like 3 random artifacts for an artifact that you want, or maybe you can exchange glory points. They also quickly touched on that. Maybe you can exchange glory points for an artifact. Systems like that would, I think, be good. They specifically also told that they're not gonna change which kind of crafting materials, the regular ones, drop in which mission. That is not going to be impacted, they said, because they don't mind you running expeditions for certain crafting materials and then defense missions for other crafting materials. And I think that's fair. That seems fair to be. So I just hope that crafting gets a bit cheaper. That's my biggest concern. If I see like how crazy expensive crafting is, it kind of puts me off in the fact that I know that I can reroll like 8 times maybe, and then I'm completely out of materials.
So, follow-up question here to you, Thyworm, then. How do you feel about a legendary recipe needing a legendary material, an epic material, and a blue material? How do you feel about that?
I really don't care about that.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Tell me why.
Because I just want my materials to be like available. I don't care about what color they are.
Okay.
So I think what would be nice if you find a legendary blueprint that you don't need to go farming again in order to get the legendary artifact to actually craft your weapon. That makes no sense to me. I mean, it's hard enough to find a blueprint, and then let's not make it additional challenges to have to grind for specific artifacts. Just give us like a way to easily get those.
So you would like the base craft to have the artifact in it, but when you're reforging it...
Yeah, for sure. The reforge should not have the artifact, right? Because you don't have those artifacts. They're super rare.
Yeah.
So, but I feel that crafting feels like a hurdle instead of it being fun.
Okay.
To me.
So, to summarize up the crafting in 0.6.1, yay or nay?
Nah, not yet. It doesn't.
Not yet?
No, it doesn't work yet for me. I'm not crafting.
Right.
I'm only crafting legendaries, but not doing anything else.
So it's gotta be a nay for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, crafting is actually gonna be a yay for me. I like it. I feel it's a vast improvement. Of course, the aspect of the artifacts I can agree on. It's a bit tedious. Being locked out, especially when you're re-rolling things, is really, really annoying.
Yeah.
But overall, that crafting is back, but not overpowered in this patch. And it comes together with Shroud Cages beautifully.
True.
I like it.
No, that I like. So I think what I like is the legendary crafting, but any other crafting I don't like.
Yeah. All right. Next topic.
The upcoming release.
Ooh, the big one. All right.
The actual upcoming release for Pagan Online.
Yeah.
What I found interesting here is something the developer said in the dev stream, and I think it really resonates well with how I feel, is that this upcoming release is not important, really.
Yeah.
They said something along the lines of, well, nothing is really going to change, right?
Exactly.
It is basically it's an
another date.
It's an arbitrary moment almost.
Yeah.
Where we are going to release the game, but afterwards we're still working on it just like we do now.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of important to get out to the community, so the community doesn't think like, oh, it's out of early access, so nothing gonna change from this. This is the final product, which it ain't.
Yeah.
It is. I would more see it like the next update than a final release.
Yeah, so I don't think anybody thinks that it is a final release that then the studio shuts down and doesn't do anything about the game anymore. Because this never happened in the last couple of years. If anything, they drop an unfinished product these days in the gaming industry and then start working on it for a few years. So I don't think many people expect that they're not going to work on it anymore. But I do feel that there are, let's say, a few things that you can get away with in early access that you cannot get away with maybe in a released title.
Yeah, and I would say to that, the thing you really can't get away with is probably the bugs.
Yeah.
As much as that's kind of one of the big things you can't get away.
Yeah, I mean, depending on which kind of bugs. I mean, if there's a skill not working, that's probably fine. But
that's fine.
The co-op lag is probably not fine.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I see your point. About, every game is not really, like the old school games where we had a release that was the final game.
Because you had a disc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
there was no way to change it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII was just like 3 discs in your PlayStation.
Yeah.
There's no way to change that game. It better works, right?
Yeah. As I said, I have hopes and also concerns about the release. My hopes is that it's going to be an awesome ARPG that I'm going to play many hours to come, and I think it's going to deliver on that. I really, really do. I've never had doubt in Pagan. Even I've disliked mechanics and I've been annoyed with mechanics. Absolutely, I will not lie on this, but I always had faith and I always loved Pagan. My concern comes more from a content creator side. Meaning that we have another big release this date, so World of Warcraft Classic. Now, it's different genres completely, absolutely, and that's kind of the key argument against this. But the thing is that big time streamers is most likely not going to cover Pagan if a big game like World of Warcraft Classic is out. Now, might not be that big time streamers come to Pagan at all, even if the World of Warcraft wasn't going to come out.
Yeah,
but still,
that's what I think.
The chances are, going from slight to zero with this, is my opinion.
So regarding the big streamers, what I've seen over the last couple of weeks now is that basically the marketing of wargaming is just doing a lot of sponsored streams. So I have seen some pretty famous action RPG streamers specifically, which makes sense to me, stream this game, like Zizaran, like a bunch of German guys that I don't really know, but they're big in Germany. They have like 1.4k viewers. That's a lot of viewers. So I am not too worried about, let's say, a targeted community being aware that this game exists. And I actually agree with the developers on how they answered these questions in the dev stream, saying like, we're not competing with World of Warcraft. I would argue the same thing. I don't think they are. I don't think anyone is and everyone is at the same time. I mean, it is World of Warcraft Classic. Probably like a half of the gaming population is gonna give that game a go. Like let's say maybe people that are older than 25, right? So, but I'm gonna give it a go too. But that doesn't mean that I'm not be playing another game. I'm not gonna like no live World of Warcraft Classic. First of all, that experience is not gonna return. It's gonna be fun playing World of Warcraft Classic, but I'm not gonna like completely no live it 60 hours a week as I used to do. And I think people will play a few games at the same time, like Mirko mentioned. And I think that's a perfectly valid argument. So I don't see the issue with World of Warcraft release.
Yeah, I think the devs really answered that question beautifully.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I said. As a player, and my hopes and Pagan, that that a lot of other in the community has concerns about, it doesn't resonate with me. But as I said, it's a content creator side that's worrying me. But I mean, as you stated, they had a lot of sponsored streamers and stuff like that, so they marketed good. It's just, what comes after.
Yeah, so I think that's what the developers are hoping to, but I will definitely ask them when I see them in a couple of days. Because this is a point that I'm personally very interested in. And is basically the future, right? The future of Pagan Online. Like, what's it going to be like? How is it? How is this actually going to work? But my guess right now, without having any prior information, is that this is more going to be a game that is, well, it has a release date because you have to have a release date at some point.
Yeah.
But it will be then from that moment on just like slowly growing and slowly gaining like recognition and slowly becoming also a
Evolving.
better game, right?
Yeah.
And I think the community that we have is really great. I see almost every time that I'm streaming, there's a few people picking up that game. So there's definitely, I think, a semi-healthy influx of people.
It got a growing interest.
Yes.
And just like you say, it's not finished with the release, so as long as it keeps evolving, I think it's in a good place.
I think so too. And they're gonna get $25 every time someone picks it up. And already the game is in a state that you're easily getting your money's worth for $25. Like easily.
Absolutely.
It's just that the end game that's there is not sufficient to play this game for hundreds of hours. I mean, some people have, but most people will not have that.
Yeah, you're talking to one right now.
Yeah, I'm one as well, but we're not the typical players, and
That's right.
a lot of my playtime, for example, is because of content creation.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fake playtime.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm not playing. A significant part of what I have been played on Pagan Online is playtime, which I would otherwise not have played.
If you didn't have the content.
Yes, I would have played the game, but not as much.
Okay. Yeah, on that point, I'm actually. Yeah, I play more than I content create right now.
Yeah.
But that's some life issues that I have. So, but I mean, content creating in Pagan is one of the key factors why I've been playing so much. Absolutely.
Yeah.
As well.
And I think if you're just a player, then Pagan Online to pick up is an amazing game. You're gonna have a lot of fun with it, a lot of fun unlocking the heroes, a lot of fun gearing them up, a lot of fun trying out some builds. And I think once you reach the point, maybe after 100 hours, that you have your heroes at that state, like geared up, build it, geared. I said that leveled up, right? And you sort of like know what you're supposed to be doing. Then I think the game lacks a little bit of content, which is what a lot of people refer to as endgame content. And you can counter that, I think, multiple ways. For example, by just adding new heroes and keeping it interesting that way. But also maybe at some point 4-player co-op or raids or dungeons.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And they're definitely thinking about it too. So, yeah.
I mean, that's something they were talking about it in the dev stream as well.
Yeah.
It's like locking content to group play only was something they really wasn't interested in.
Yeah.
And that to me, that was one of the key things that didn't resonate with me.
I agree.
Because dungeons and raids, let's call them that at least.
Yeah.
Dungeons, to group them up. That's kind of one of the things that can make Pagan, go outside the ARPG box a little, and a signature move, if you would say. So you have 4 friends or 4 randoms that met on the Discord or whatever, and you go together, have fun together. You have different heroes that are specialized in different things. Like you have, as we were talking about, Elden might be single target, Hector might be the AoE clear, Ishtok as a tank, Anya as some support, DPS, a hybrid role. And I think that is, at least I hope that's the way they're going with it, because I think that would be a lot of fun.
It would be a lot of fun, right? I can totally see this happen. And I think it might happen, but then only after we get like 6 or something more heroes. Because I think what they've said before, for example, is that they don't want to have, let's say, a designated healer because they want to be able that you can level your character as a solo player, right? So that if you pick this character or unlock it at a very early stage and you don't have anyone else, that you should be able to at least complete the campaign on this character. And if this is like basically a full-time healer or has mainly healing skills, that this could be pretty tough, which I totally understand. I think later though, down the line, where we have a few more heroes and everybody's just completely fine with that, I totally see this happen. Like, you already have your tank in E-stock, and you have plenty of damage dealers. That's like everybody's basically a damage dealer. I have been able to build an actual tank out of E-stock. I do 0 damage, but I'm super tanky, which works really well because there's people out there that do insane amounts of damage. So it works pretty well. I'm completely capped on master difficulty in terms of resistances and armor to some extent, but it's hard to kill them. And if you would have a designated healer as well,
it would actually work.
It would actually work, because I could hold aggro mostly. Shield everybody and get someone like, for example, Damir with some healing tree. And I think one last thing, the Pagan Online has in its boss fights a lot of interesting mechanics, which definitely could work if you design it for like 4-player co-op. I think they could come up with some amazing boss fights for 4 people.
I mean, having an ability to fill in a role of the classical, damage dealer, tank healer, there are opportunities in the game to do this if the devs wish to go that way. And also on the boss fights, I've been saying this a lot, during my live streams and also in chats in different streams. It's like, imagine if Usud, for example, when you open the door and you see, okay, everything got some ice on the walls, then you know that it's a random rolled ice encounter of Usud. So, you have some RNG in that boss fight as well. So that would bring, not customization, but, different feeling each time you do a boss, which just a minor tweak.
And I think, sorry.
I really hope they go that way, because it would be a fun game then.
I totally agree. And I think also, for example, in terms of dungeon design, you don't have to do it like... It's not going to be all that difficult in the sense that I'm sure there's some technical challenges, but I can just imagine an expedition where, we have like a larger dungeon actually with maybe multiple paths that would just lead to a room like you said, or like to a outside area with Kevlar, or to a room with King Fukashi, right? It wouldn't be crazy to design something like that. And in between, you just get like your regular rooms with like trash mobs, basically. Because now everything is just trash mobs.
Yeah, I mean, that brings a fulfillment to content. You're both having to have to deal with AoEing mobs and also, damaging a boss, tanking stuff, keeping everyone alive. You
basically would just like stitch 2 things together, like a boss level and an expedition.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see that happen.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that point. Should we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, I think the last topic, which is a bit of a tricky topic maybe, is the hardcore versus casual players on the Steam reviews.
Yes.
Can we get more specific than that? No, ladies and gentlemen, we do not get more specific than that.
So, one of the most designated critiques of Pagan Online right now is the casual versus hardcore player having such a huge difference that the casual player might not get the full, flavor of Pagan Online because it takes so long to unlock the end games, might even be impossible because it's bottlenecked between the master difficulty. And also time spent. Casual players might not have too much time to spend on Pagan Online, and it ends up just being a bad experience that way. Meanwhile, the hardcore players, they want it this way because, it's hard, it's challenging, that's the way we like it. So, I don't know a specific way to fix this, but I hope in future developments and when the game evolves, that the developers kind of find a middle ground here, so the casual players can enjoy Pagan Online as well, even if they don't have, 8 to 12 hours to farm.
I think this is mainly true for Endgame.
Yes, of course, for Endgame I'm talking about right
Right.
now. Yeah, and we also have to take into account, both you and me, Thyworm, we've been playing this game a lot.
Yeah.
You know, even after the wiped accounts.
Exactly.
during
This
the,
was after the wipe that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we still have, you know, some feeling for, okay, this attack is going to be here.
Exactly.
Most likely. Imagine yourself being an entirely new player and you don't really gotten the hang of it yet, and then you go into those bottleneck missions we were talking about.
Yeah, it's hard. It's tough. It's really tough.
It's tough even for us who's been playing the game and recognize the mechanics and everything. And I can see why it's so frustrating for a lot of people who might not have grasped it as well as we have. So yeah, that's mainly the hardcore versus casual player issue we're having right now. And I think a lot of the bad reviews from the casual players, in quotation mark, is coming because of that bottleneck.
Yeah, I could imagine that, to be honest. I don't disagree with them.
No?
I mean, it's a valid opinion that if you are basically being forced to do 3, I think it's 3, right? 3 no, it's more. It's like 6.
4.
I think 6.
6?
Yeah, I
might
think so. 3 for each section, right? 3 for the assassination and 3 for the regular missions.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
And some are like expeditions with 15 encounters in them, like the defense missions. It's not that bad, but those expeditions can take 25 minutes and they get killed by a trap or a barrel or whatever, something stupid. I don't disagree with the bad review at that point. Like it's inconsistently tough. It comes out of nowhere, right? Before that, the game is like challenging but fun. I mean, but then it's not fun anymore.
Then it's like hitting a brick wall.
Yeah, but I had no fun doing those master missions. I knew I had to do them, but it took me like 2 days, not 2 days of full playtime, but just 2 days of like rage quitting and frustration to actually get through those missions.
Yeah.
It's not my idea of fun.
It ain't.
No. And I think not many people, because I play relatively a lot still.
Yeah.
But I also do have a full-time job, and so I'm not grinding this game 60 hours a week. But even if I would, it didn't also give me like a sense of achievement, because the system wasn't fair. It was just like luck, basically. At some point that you bake this expedition on master by yourself, it's luck. It has nothing to do with skill anymore.
So did you feel more that you were punished than you were feeling achieving?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was just glad it was over. I didn't feel like I achieved something. I was like, oh, phew,
it's finally over.
Glad we got that crap over with. Now we can actually enjoy the game again.
Okay.
That's really how I felt about those master missions.
Yeah, and then imagine, being a casual player, being stuck between those missions for, let's say, a week.
Yeah. And then you write a bad Steam review. Yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah. So.
And I think it's totally fair too. I think those are definitely smaller parts of the game. And to be honest, I feel that this could be warranted in the end game too. That if you don't like the end game here, I'm not sure you should write a bad review, because you had probably already like 40-ish hours of good fun with the game, right? But I can definitely see why people do not like current endgame. I think the developers see that too.
Yeah, and that's something we have to bear in mind as well. Like the developers, they see it, they heard it. Let's just take the Shroud case that we were talking about a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
They most likely saw your YouTube video about it and say like, okay, we need to change this. It's the same with the crit system, and most likely we're going to be this with the bottleneck as well.
I think so too, although this bottleneck is in place since the game started.
Yeah, that is true. We had the same bottleneck, different mission though, the cleansing waters. Every one of the old school players recognize what I'm talking about.
That was just as horrible, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's the same idea. It's the same sense of like dread that I felt whenever I started that mission. I was like,
Nope.
But because this was a defense mission, right? Cleansing Waters. It was a defense mission.
Yeah.
So that was only 1.5 minutes. I was sort of okay with that. And with a bit of luck, you might be able to manage it. And I tried it like 10 times, but then it's only 1.5 minutes. And you're like, yeah, okay, this isn't really working. But at least you're not spending 25 minutes on an expedition and then being killed by a random trap that you don't see. Yeah,
that is true.
That is frustrating for me.
Yeah. It's not, frustrating like you go away from the computer, you grab a cup of coffee and then go back to it. No, it's frustrating, close down the game,
Exactly.
Go to Steam reviews.
Yeah,
kind of furious.
Not in my case, but I do close the game and I do play something else. Yeah. I'm screw this shit. I'm not putting up with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, guys. So we just realized this. We're being recording for 55 minutes. I'm gonna try and edit this down as quickly as I can. We'll see how that turns out. But one thing is, thank you so much for making it to the end. We really appreciate that. For us, this is also a bit of an experiment, so we're curious to see how it turns out ourselves. Hopefully it is good information, somewhat entertaining. We'll see how it goes. So thanks for watching.
Please do tell us if you want more of this type of content. If you did enjoy it, even though it was 60 minutes long. So without further ado, this is Chinte.
Yes, this was Thyworm. Thanks so much for watching. And who knows, we'll do another one.
Yeah, see you next time.
See you next time. But you probably want to look in the camera instead of at me.
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
There we go.
Because I'm gonna try to look up in the camera instead of looking at your face, which is weird.
Yeah, I know, right?
But I rather see my camera anyway, so that's fine.
Oh, ouch! Ouch! Right.